Hello children. So in the last video we were talking about the different types of speed. Four types of speed were calculated. In that one main important formula, average speed. It is total distance upon total time. Similarly, the velocity can also be classified into four types: uniform velocity, non-uniform velocity, average velocity and instantaneous velocity. What actually the difference is? While defining the uniform speed, it is in that we were seeing the examples. In every interval of time, it was covering equal distance in equal time. That is uniform speed. If an object travels equal distance in equal interval of time, it is in uniform speed. If an object is traveling unequal distance in equal interval of time, then that is non-uniform speed. Then average speed, it is the ratio of total distance covered to the total time. Instantaneous speed, the speed of an object at any particular moment. That is instantaneous. Then how can we define the velocity? Nothing different. Simply we are going to add a direction in it. Here we can define this velocity, uniform velocity. In this, throughout the motion the velocity is constant. If we define it, if an object covers equal distance in equal interval of time in the given direction along a particular direction, it is said to be in uniform velocity. If an object covers unequal distance in equal interval of time in a particular direction, it is in non-uniform velocity. Average velocity, then coming for the average velocity, this is average velocity. Here there is a little difference. If the object is traveling from one point to another point, what is the displacement covered? Here we take the example, it is traveling along a straight line. If the object changes its direction like this, in this way, now the displacement is from initial to final. That is the displacement. Here the average velocity is equal to total displacement upon total time. Total displacement upon total time. That is the difference. Average speed, total distance upon total time. Average velocity, total displacement upon total time. Then instantaneous velocity, the velocity of an object at any particular instant. So these are the four types of velocity and four types of speed. Now we'll see that how we are going to calculate. These two formula are required. Average speed, total distance upon total time. Average velocity, total displacement upon total time. Now we are going to calculate the average speed and average velocity by taking examples. This is somewhat important. Suppose a person is traveling from one point to another point. It is from A to B. Let us take the distances. The length of path is 100 meter, and he took the time taken, that is 5 seconds. Then from B to C he travels in the opposite direction along the same path for 20 meter, and he take 1 second. 1 second. Now you see, we can calculate the average speed and average velocity. For average speed, total distance. Average speed, total distance. Total distance traveled, as you know, it is the total length of path from A to B plus B to C, that is 120 meter upon Total time from A to B 5 seconds, then it is 6 seconds and it is equal to 20 meter per second. This is the average speed. Then coming for average velocity, it is average velocity. In this case, total displacement upon total time. Total displacement, it is from initial to final point. To calculate this length, it is from A to B minus B to C because it is in the opposite direction. So 100 minus 20, 80. 80, that is the displacement from A to C. And the total time, that is from A to B plus B to C. Because the time is not having any direction, it should always be added. As the object is moving, the time will be added again and again. So here the total time is 6 seconds. Here you can calculate. It is 40 upon 3. Now you can calculate. It is 33 1 by 3 meter per second. This is the average velocity. This is one kind of example. Then, if we take another example, in that case, an object is traveling from A to B. Let us take the distance again. It is 100 meter. 100 meter and it traveled in 5 seconds. Covered in 5 seconds. Again, from B is traveling along the same path but in the opposite direction up to the point A. That means starting from the point A to B, again coming back to point A itself. If we calculate the average speed, in this average speed, you see, here the distance travel 100 meter, again coming back to A point, again 100 meter. So the total distance is 200 meter. Upon total time is 10 seconds because to move towards B 5 seconds, towards A 5 seconds. Now it comes 20 meter per second. It is speed, average speed. Then coming for the average velocity. You see. Average velocity, that is total displacement upon total time. Here if you want to find out the displacement, the object starting from the point A to the B, then again coming back to point A. That means the initial and the final point is same. As I said earlier, whenever the initial and the final points are same, the displacement is 0 upon total time, that is 10, that is equal to 0 meter per second. In this case, when an object come back to the same point, to the origin, in this the average velocity is 0. So this is how we calculate average speed and average velocity. And in this average speed and average velocity, so you can calculate these two things for any example by using this formula. In that case, you must remember that how you are going to calculate the total distance and total displacement is covered. So for this average speed and average velocity, we can have the formulas. Suppose a vehicle is traveling from point A to B. Here is traveling with a speed of 50 km per hour. 50 km per hour uniformly from A to B. Means the car is traveling from point A to B along this line with a speed of 50 km per hour. Then from point B to A is traveling along the same path, but now the speed comes 60 km per hour. That means while moving towards B, speed is 50 km per hour. Then coming back, speed is not same, it is 60 km per hour. In this case, we can calculate the average speed. Again, we go to that formula, total distance upon total time. But the problem here is neither distance given nor time given. Only the speeds are given. How can we find it out? How can we find it out? Here, let us suppose from A to B, the distance is x. We do not know the value x. Then coming back from B to A, again the distance is x. So for the same distance, the speed is different. So the time taken will not be same. For that, we take the time taken t1 and the time taken t2. Then coming for this formula, total distance, while moving towards B, x distance, moving towards A, x distance, that is x plus x, total distance, that is 2x. And the time taken, it is t1 plus t2. This is the average speed. Here the total distance, that is x plus x, 2x, but the time are different. From these two things you can calculate the time. So t1, that is time taken, is equal to, it is distance upon speed. It is x upon 50. You can write 2x upon x upon 50 plus x upon 60. Now it can be calculated. That is 2x upon x taken out, 1 upon 50 plus 1 upon 60. Now x is cancelled. So it means in this example, no distance is required. So that it is 2 upon, you can calculate. Now here it is 50 into 60 and 60 plus 50. We are taking LCM. Then calculating 2 into 50 into 60 upon 50 plus 60, that is 110. Now calculate this. You get, this is 1060. This is 600. It is 600 upon 11. This is the, sorry, it is kilometer per, given in kilometer per hour. You are supposed to write the units properly. This is the average speed. Then coming to the average velocity, again you see the initial and the final point are same. So the average velocity is 0. Average velocity is 0. In that, no problem, but the average speed is to be calculated properly. This is the way to calculate average speed and average velocity. We'll continue in the next class.